right, everybody. Welcome in to NorCal Sports Network Postgame. Giants. I don't think they need to be called the Giants. Take off GI. Yes, you heard it right. Take off the GI. Just call them the ants. These guys hit like ants. This is a pathetic team. My goodness. Steven Ortega, no Bora or Los tonight. Bora is out on assignment, as the Giants would say. Los may step in a little later. We'll see how his schedule goes. Bring the fork out, Dan, says Carlo P. Yes, guys, let's get into this. First of all, thanks for joining NorCal Sports Network. We're here live on YouTube, also on X, formerly known as Twitter, and we're also on Apple Podcasts, Instagram, Spotify, TikTok, Facebook, wherever social media outlets are, we're there or we're headed there. Anyway, guys, Michael Roeder says, I'm not going to hang out for this negative BS. Well, Michael, you want to talk positive? Come on in here, buddy. Let's see what you can say. Come on in, Michael. They didn't score a stinking run. You want to come into the show, Mike? We'll have you come on and you can be all positive. We'll sing Kumbaya. How's that? We'll sing Kumbaya for the San Francisco Giants. Kumbaya. Come on, everybody. Let's sing Kumbaya, huh? Isn't this a great team? When am I going to put this stinking hat on? When do I get to put this hat on? Maybe tomorrow because of Blake Snell. Maybe twice a week, Snell and Webb. Although, let's get into the game, guys. Let's break it down here. Let me pull up the box score for the Giants here, and we'll just take a look, okay? And we'll see what the Giants hitters did tonight. They didn't even get a hit for the first 5 innings. Pathetic. Okay, here we go. We're looking at the Giants batting order. The only guy that hit was Canna and McRae. That's it. Literally. The only guys that got hits. Tyler Fitzgerald 0 for 3. Wade 0 for 4. Ramos 0 for 4. Down to 279. Conforto 0 for 4. Chapman 0 for 3. 2 Ks. Conforto 2 Ks. Ramos 2 Ks. Yaz 0 for 1. Canna 2 for 2. Bailey 0 for 3. Wisely 0 for 2. Schmidt 0 for 2. Looking not too good there at the end of the game either. Striking out on 3 pitches. And then McRae 2 for 3. And looking at the A's, not a whole lot better, but Seth Brown had 3 hits. There was only 10 hits in the whole game. So Seth Brown had 3 of them. And then Butler got a hit, Andahar. But, the story was, if you watch the pregame show, if you remember what I said in the pregame, I thought the Giants would lose tonight 6-3. That's what I picked. Just because I figured they'd get more to Birdsong. The only thing I got right really was I said Birdsong would go 4 2/3. That was someone asked, how long will Birdsong go? And I said 4 2/3. And you could see there he went exactly 4 2/3. So, and Greg Dayton says, at least I can admit the Schmidt experiment should be over. No, I don't think it should be over. He just hasn't gotten the chance to play. He was fine in AAA. He has his moments. He needs to play consistently. Let me just tell you guys where this game was lost, okay? The difference tonight was Farhan's lineup. I thought the managing of the A's manager, Mark Kotsay, was brilliant tonight. Absolutely brilliant. What am I talking about? All right. This is why you listen here to NorCal Sports Network, because we actually can break the game down. We can actually give you an analysis of the game itself. We don't have to just give you nothing. We'll give you actual game analysis, insight into the game. Here's the deal, guys. The Giants lineup is easy to beat. So let me go back and pull up the play-by-play here. Let me see if I can do that. One sec. Let me pull up the play-by-play, and I want to bring you to a particular point in the game. And let's see here. All right. We're going to get it. It was in the sixth, or I think it was the top of the sixth. Top of the sixth. Nope, it may have been top of the eighth. Was this it? No, must have been the top of the seventh. Hold on, where is it? Is this it? There it is. All right. Top of the seventh, guys. The score at the time was it 2-0 still, or was it 1-0? Top of the seventh. Let me look. Hold on one sec here. Doing all this here, managing this by myself tonight. Top of the seventh. Yeah. A's had just scored in the bottom of the sixth. Okay. Top of the seventh. Alexander's pitching for the A's. Conforto grounds out to start off the inning. Chapman walks. Canna, who had the 2 hits, comes up, pinch hits, or he had already pinch hit, I guess, at some point. Yeah, I'm trying to remember this all, but Canna comes in, singles to left. Okay, 1 out, first and second. Bailey flies out to right. Chapman tags, goes to third base. Now you got first and third, 2 out, right? Here's the key to the game. Melvin got outsmarted because of the bench. This platoon crap, if you don't platoon, you just play the guys and let things fall where they may, because this would come back to haunt the Giants in the ninth. What does Bob Melvin do? He announces he's pinch hitting for Wisely. And he plays his cards, and he doesn't have any lefties left now on the bench because they got to put all this platoon stuff in. They leave themselves shorthanded on the bench because they put all their lefties in tonight to face Beto. Okay. So it's classic part of where you can just beat the heck out of this stupid ball that the Giants play. They pinch hit for Schmidt or for Wisely. Schmidt comes in and Schmidt grounds out to second. Check there for the A's. Check. Okay. Michael, a member. Thank you, Michael. He even says platooning sucks. Michael, another member, or same member. The offense has died because the Ramos, Conforto, and Chapman have all cooled off. Okay. So what happens? Inning over. Now we move to the ninth inning. Look who's coming up in the ninth. In the top of the ninth, you got Otanez. Otanez, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. He comes in. Mason Miller gets a night off. The Giants are lucky. They better not have to face him tomorrow because that's lights out. So, hey, Buster, stop. Buster's licking his paws. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, stop it, buddy. All right, so Conforto and Chapman both strike out. Canna reaches on an infield single to third. Bailey walks first and second, tying runs on base, go-ahead run at the plate. But guess who's up now? Is it Brett Wisely? No. They pinch hit for him in the 7th inning. So now you don't have a left-handed bat to face the right-handed pitching. And the A's had already used their lefties. And it's pretty easy just to defeat this platoon system, because if you've got more bullets in the chamber, so to speak, as the A's had, they just wait. Okay, oh, he's going to pinch hit. I'll bring in my right-handed pitcher. I'll take out the lefty, Alexander, and I'll just bring in the righty and get Casey to ground out to second. Now, Casey is, a lot of people don't like his play, his bat. You know, he had a great game on Thursday, guys. 3 for 4 with a home run. Look, he's not in the lineup tonight. You can't get in a rhythm when you don't play consistently. None of the good teams do this. Okay? This team, you know, I was watching the Sacramento River Cats as I was eating. The reason I was out tonight and had to grab some dinner and brought it home and was watching the River Cats right before the show. And, you know, the River Cats are a lot more exciting to watch. Their lineup has in it tonight, leading off is Estrada, who was 2 for 3, by the way. But they got Matos in the lineup. They've got Luciano. They've got Hunter Bishop. And there was David VR. And that's four young players. Bishop, VR, Matos, and Luciano. I'd like to see all 4 of them up playing. What's the future of this club? Mark Canha? You know, look, Mark Canha had a good game tonight. He got 2 hits. Just play the guy if he's your future. If he's so good, just play him. You got to do this platoon crap. You know, the Giants, they lost ground tonight to, let me see. Let me pull this up. I'm going to just pull up the standings. Let's see who's winning and who's losing. Let's see. Wild card. Okay, I know the Diamondbacks lost today. They've lost 2 in a row. Padres, was that game gone final against Colorado? It should be by now. Yeah, 8-3 final. Padres win. Look at the run differential for the 4 teams ahead of the Giants. 71, then 40 for the Braves, 30 for the Mets, and then minus 14 for the Giants. Okay, the Atlanta Braves have, let me see if that game's final. I don't think it is. Nope, but they're going to win. Bottom of the 6th, they're leading the Angels 9-0. Okay, so the Giants are now going to be 4 back of the Braves and 5 in the loss column. So they've given up a half game since they beat them on Thursday. And the Braves lost last night. They win tonight. Giants 4 back. They're basically tied with the Cardinals, half game ahead of the Cubs, a game, just a game over Cincinnati. But they're chasing the Mets. And now they're chasing 4 teams pretty heavily. Okay. It's over, guys. I don't see them doing it. And but you know, that's just the way this club is built. This club is built to constantly platoon, constantly, you have no rhythm. Nobody gets into a rhythm. You saw Chapman get hot recently. That's because he's playing every day. You're going to go hot and cold, but you got to give guys a chance. And this team is built, you know, I think that, Fitzgerald's been playing well. Ramos was bound to tail off. He's not a 300 hitter. I don't think Fitzgerald's probably a 300 hitter either. The team is, it's just rough. They got a 6-game road trip coming up after this brief next 4 games. They got the A's tomorrow, then Monday through Wednesday they have the White Sox at home, and then they go on the road for 6. Seattle and Milwaukee. Seattle's been struggling. Seems like the Giants have been hitting teams, fairly good teams, as they struggle, and then they get hot and they get well against the Giants. Like Atlanta came in here struggling like crazy, losing 2 of 3 in Colorado, like 8 of 10, getting the Giants to within 1.5 games of the Braves. And then what do the Braves promptly do? They come in and kick the Giants' butt 3 straight games. I wouldn't actually say kick their butts. The first 2 games were competitive. The third game was at 13-2 blowout, but probably the Monday night game, Snell and Sale, that seems like eternity ago, but that was last Monday. That was probably one of the best played games or games to watch, with very little hitting in the game, but dominant pitching, which I love to watch a pitcher's duel. What I love is a pitcher's duel in the old-fashioned National League, guys, when a guy's got a hit and you're coming up and he's pitching a great game. His spot comes up in the lineup and the manager has a decision. Shoot, I got a man on. Do I pinch hit for him and possibly score the only run of the game here in the bottom of the 7th, or do I let him keep going? That kind of stuff I miss. The DH is great, and in some ways it adds more excitement and it adds more, I guess, more offense, unless it's the DH for the Giants. I mean, the Giants DH is horrible. Robert Brown, the lineup is weak. I love Chapman, but he's not a middle of the lineup guy. Absolutely, Robert. No, he's a 7 guy. He belongs in the 7th hole on a team, but this team, he's got to bat 4th or 5th because they don't have it. They just don't have it. So let me get rid of the standings, bring this back up, bring myself in here, guys, a little bigger. All right. So, this is a very tough team to gauge and watch a lot because they just don't have the bats in the lineup. They just don't. It's a swing and miss club. How many strikeouts tonight, by the way, for the Giants? I didn't even look at that. I didn't even look because I was watching and not fully, but I'll guess 9. Just let me look. 10. Should have guessed 10. It's always 10, it seems like. So they got 10 Ks. 10 out of their 27 outs. So, yeah, so let's hit that. Thank you, Mark. Everybody hit that like and subscribe button, would you? Really means a lot to the channel. It helps us out. Give us trying to find the little like and subscribe. There we go. There we go. Hit that like and subscribe if you would. So, stars of the game for the Giants. I guess McRae. Mark Canna, 2 hits. McRae hit the ball hard with a double earlier. How about Birdsong tonight? Birdsong wasn't too bad. He went 4 2/3, only gave up 3 hits, but he had 3 base on balls, 5 Ks, only 78 pitches. Seems like, he's lost, I don't know if he's lost 3 in a row or if it's 3 out of the last 4 he's pitched in, but he's 3-3 now. He was 3-0. But, he's a young rookie. He didn't pitch horribly, kept him in the game, only gave up 1 run. It's not like he was awful. He had more in him, I guess. He probably could have got out of the 5th, but Melvin came and got him. And brought in, who did he bring in at that point? Was it Bivens, I think? Yeah, he brought in Bivens, and then Hicks went 1, and then Eric Miller pitched the 8th. So, but Birdsong, that curveball was working well for him tonight. It looked pretty good. Had a lot of crispness on it, a lot of break. It's a 12-6 break, a lot of it. And then he can also do it. Sometimes it looks like a 10-4, 11-5 snap. But he's got a few different looks to that curveball. Chris Darter says, has anyone noticed when we play Wade instead of Canna, we lose and our offense is pathetic? At this point, just play Canna. He's hitting guys. You know what? Play him and see how things go. And you know what? He seems to be healthy. He seems to be a little bit of a catalyst when he plays. I mean, I don't think Canna's going to be on the roster a month from now. Just a gut check and pick, I think. I think he's gone by the time the Giants actually figure out that they're done. I think they look to open up his 40-man roster spot and maybe give it to one of the youngsters who's not on the 40-man roster, maybe like a Hunter Bishop, something like that. But how are we doing down there, Buster? You doing good? All right. So if you guys are just tuning into NorCal Sports, maybe for the first time, I am not an A's fan. I wear the hat of the winning team. You can see up there, we've got all the hats, all 30 teams right there, guys. There they are. In order of the standings. Pulled the A's off right there. Obviously, last place. You know what? I need to look at the standings. The A's might be getting close to let's take a look at that. Are the A's getting close to the Angels? Yes. They're going to tie the Angels tonight because the Angels are losing 9-0. The Angels will be, and the A's will have identical records at 53 and 70. Good for the A's. Good for the A's. And look what? We've got a new member, Aaron. All right, Aaron, thanks. Thanks, pal. Aaron from the NorCal Sports Fantasy Baseball League. What's going on back there, Buster? You doing okay? I think Buster's got a hot spot or something on his paw. He keeps going after it. All right, I'll take care of you after the show, buddy. I will. All right, so welcome to Aaron. We got to give Aaron a big NorCal Sports thank you. One more, crowd. All right, Aaron, as he joins NorCal Sports Network. Thank you for your support, guys. Appreciate all that. And I know we've got more members coming. I've had some people contact me and tell me they're going to be joining. Appreciate that. As a member, you get your comments read when they come up. Michael says, love that people are joining and helping Dan. Only $4.99 a month. Thanks, Mike. Mike is a member. You see that little, I don't know if my mouse is showing up, my little cursor right there, that little S star. Michael, a member. Now Aaron, lost a member. And Cliff Martinez, another member. NorCal Sports Network Spring Training Meetup. Pull up the schedule. Raffle for a free room at Dan's. That's not a bad idea. Although a raffle, you never know who you might meet on NorCal Sports Network. We had one unnamed guy in NorCal Sports actually making threats on me. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So, and he listens in here all the time. He's been booted, but he comes back under a pseudonym and listens. But anyway, pretty nuts when people start threatening you. But James says, love to see it. More people helping the show, more content we'll get, I feel like. Okay. Yes, we've got some stuff that we're putting in the there's some member only videos that we're creating. We're working on merchandise that we'll have, and then we've got to get that store set up. We've already had contact with the store that will make those shirts, hats, sweatshirts, whatever we decide to have them do. And then we can put that store up, and then you can go right to the site and pick it out. And then if you're a member, you'll get a discount. So what else we got? Caleb Rossi. Okay. Oh, Caleb. I saw Caleb in here the other night, and I think Caleb might be new, but if I'm wrong, Caleb, I apologize. I don't see the chat all the time, but when I'm myself, I see it more. But when I've got another host or two hosts going, I'm not always in the chat. So, but I do recognize the name from the other night. Caleb, thank you. Look forward to you joining as a member as well. What do we got here? Aaron says, Cliff says, oh, there we go. Cliff says his treat at Steak 44. Yes, thanks, Cliff. And Cliff says, oh, hell no. I love it. I love it. All right. So, yeah, guys, we appreciate your support. It does help the channel and helps me personally a little bit. I appreciate that. And Cliff says, your life will be much happier when you stop investing in the Giants. As we all know, they're not just a team. They're a long-running reality show where disappointment is the plot twist every week. Absolutely, Cliff. That's why I don't get upset. I actually have fun when they win or lose. If they win, hey, good, enjoy it. But I don't break any sweat when they lose. You know why, guys? I don't get upset when the Giants lose? Because I expect them to lose. I don't, your disappointments are going to be much greater when you're really wound up tight for a victory. And if you think they're going to win and you're really pumped up, you're going to get disappointed and you're going to be frustrated. I go into every Giants game expecting them to lose. I really do. I'll expect them to lose to the White Sox at least once next week. And with that, we bring in the Beanie Man himself, the great Los D. Woo!
Cheers to another Giants loss.
There we go. Yes. Look at this. Aaron, I'm spending $59.88 a year to support Dan. Steak 44 is no longer on the budget. See you at Outback.
Yeah, Steak 44 is no joke. Just took the wife there for her birthday Wednesday, and great establishment. But
yeah, Cliff says we got to do a spring training right here. A spring training meetup. Pull up the schedule, raffle for a free room at Dan's. Hey, you can have two winners. One at Los's place, one at my place.
People forget that there's the fall league here too. I've been talking to Dan about that the last couple of years. It's nice. Little less crazy, a little less hectic than spring training. I mean,
you walk right in.
Yeah, baseball is baseball, and in the fall league, we'll actually get to see prospects play. They don't sit on the bench like in the Giants organization. So,
fall league. I love the fall league, guys. Fall league starts in early October.
Weather's great. Lolo's is open for Cliff, so come on.
You want to know what fall league's like? Let me show you what fall league is like, guys. This is where I got to just go right up to Luis Matos and get this little take.
Hey, this is Luis Matos.
Yep, that was
Hey,
20. Oh, let's see. This is 20. That would have been 22? Yes. The 22 in October. 2022.
That was probably the last time Luis Matos laughed in a Giants uniform.
Yeah.
Sad to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not even watch the Giants game. I went back and forth a little. I was focused on my fantasy football draft is next week, so I was watching some preseason, watching some young quarterbacks. Caleb Williams looks pretty good. So I just kind of popped over and I saw the Giants hadn't scored in the 7th inning, and I was like, oh man, geez, they can't even hit this guy. So
yeah, I was expecting like Mason Miller to come in the 9th and close it, but he pitched 2 innings on Thursday. So
who was this kid that came in that was throwing 100 with a nasty slider?
What is it with the A's? They had Lucas Ursag throwing 100. They traded him to Kansas City. They got this kid throwing 100, and then they got Mason Miller throwing 102, 103. What are the A's doing?
They draft well.
And they're
They recognize talent, and then they actually play them and develop them.
I swear.
They're not here trying to get, overpriced, past their prime veterans to block them. Because they know they're not trying to win anything. They're trying to develop players. Now,
well, which team would you have?
Yeah.
What would you rather have? Would you rather have the Giants in the Giants uniforms, or would you rather that they switch places? Who would you get behind more?
I'd rather follow the A's because at least you know what the plan is, and it's not a tease. The Giants are just one big tease. Oh. They're like the most gorgeous woman that you go out with. Everything's looking great, and then at the end of the night, she's like, "See you later, buddy. You're not getting anything. You're just a huge tease." You know me and my analogies. So yeah, I'll take the A's any day. You know what you're going to get. You know the plan. They're going to play young players. They're going to lose, more games than they're going to win, but they're going to be competitive. Which team to you, if you watch the A's and Giants, what team to you looks like they're having more fun?
Oh, the A's, way more.
And they're losing more. What does that tell you? I swear, I thought about this the other day. All of you at one point or another, I'm sure, had a job that you hated. You just couldn't stand going to work. You had to work because you needed to make money, you got to pay bills, but you couldn't stand the job. I think 80% of the Giants players just don't like showing up for work. The young guys don't like showing up because they know I can go in a 0-for-8 slump and I'm either going to the bench or I'm going back down to Sacramento. The veteran hitters are like, I don't know when I'm going to play because it's a platoon system here. So I don't think Giants players really enjoy themselves, coming to the ballpark.
No.
Baseball, all sports for that matter. It's a job. It's a business. We always talk about it. But at the end of the day, it's a game. You got to have a little kid in you to want to play, to want to compete. And I think the Giants are just going through the motions. I read body language very well, and they are going through the motions. They're not inspired to play for Melvin. They're not sure as hell inspired to play for Farhan. They're playing for each other and maybe a contract here and there, but that's it. The A's play with much more passion and much more fun. It's obvious.
Absolutely. And Los, you missed I know you were busy, but I pointed out here, the game here, because of the Giants system, the way they play with this platoon crap, it's really easy in a tight game to defeat them. And I'm going to point it out for everybody here. I was telling everybody, it's great having Los on or Bora or Cody because these guys all play ball, no ball, and we give you a breakdown of the game and key points to the game. Not just, we're not just going to sit here and yell and scream that the Giants are awful. Let's point this out again here. Check this out. In the 7th, the Giants come up. Conforto grounds out. Chapman walks. Canna singles to left. 2 on, 1 out. Down 2-0. Bailey flies out to right. Chapman tags, goes to third. Wisely's due up. He lets Kotze, steals the moment and waits and knows the plan that the Giants always pinch hit. So he waits. He lets him announce Wisely and knows there's no other lefties on the bench. So he brings in he pinch hits, Wisely's the last lefty. He pinch hits Casey Schmidt. Okay? Now, in the old days, if you don't play all your players and platoon all the time, you have a lefty on the bench as a backup. And you say, okay, the pitcher, he just brought in a pitcher who's got to face three guys. I got another lefty on the bench. But Kotze knows that Wisely's the last lefty. Schmidt comes up, he brings the right-hander up, and Schmidt grounds out. Now, that ends the threat there, Los. 2-0. And what happens in the top of the ninth inning? In the top of the ninth, Conforto and Chapman strike out. Canna gets on an infield hit. Bailey walks. First and second. Who's up? Well, let's see. The A's now only have right-handers because they use their lefties. We've got Brett Wisely up. Oh, no, wait. We pinch hit for Wisely. Now we got to go with Casey, who strikes out on 3 pitches, and the third pitch was way outside. Strike 3. Ball game over. Checkmate. Kotze. It's just so easy.
Yeah, they're predictable. And this is, Kotze doesn't have the experience that Melvin does, but what did that experience do right there in that moment? Absolutely nothing. Because, the Giants have their system. Like I said, the analogy that I use is they're that blackjack player that the dealer shows something. He pulls out his card, very analytical, and says, oh, this says I should hit. This says I should stay. And then they go with it. They never go on hunches. They never go on gut instincts. They never go on anything like that. And baseball is a game of gut instincts and hunches sometimes. Sometimes you just go against the grain about what the numbers say. This guy's hot. He's swinging the bat well. But let's take him out because it's righty on righty. Let's go lefty on righty. And it just, it's just the same.
It was
story.
predictable to me that the Giants would lose because they never hit a pitcher they haven't seen. Only 2 or 3 guys actually had an at bat. Someone had 2 at bats. I think it was Wade, 1 for 2. Look, the Giants, their philosophy is very, very skewed. It's a win by the margins type of team. And when you win by try and play the margins, everything has to go perfect. And you know what? Everything went perfect in 2021. Mm-hmm. Everything went perfect. And you've seen what this type of ball does. If it doesn't go perfect, you're going to be a 500 team at best. And because they don't have the talent to stay with teams. One thing I'm worried about this team is I'm looking at next year. You've got Ramos and you've got your outfield is Ramos, Lee, who? Yaz, Matos, McRae. Now who's playing? Who's playing next year?
We don't know. That's the problem. We don't know. We don't know how Lee's going to recover from surgery. We don't know if Ramos has a bad spring training and he goes right back down.
Well, he's out of options now, so they'd have to trade him, or just release him.
They have to play him, yeah.
So, but McRae looks pretty good. So what are you going to do? There's no room for McRae and Matos. There is if you went like this, if you went left to right, you went Matos left, McRae center, Ramos right, and you could trade Lee, or you could use Lee. But where is and then what are you going to do they're going to do something with Yaz. They'll probably bring him back. And if they bring Yaz back, that means somebody, a youngster sitting there. They cannot continue this thing of letting these guys just come up here and then not play them and platoon them. This platoon stuff has to go. The Giants ownership has to fire Farhan. They've got to go a whole different direction.
If Grant McCray finishes the year strong and follows it up, puts on some muscle, has a very good spring training, they can't even play him in center field if they keep Lee, because it's going to become politics again. They paid Lee $106 million. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, 119 million. Yeah. So again, we're back to politics. So Lee will come back, he'll have the shoulder thing. McCray will just be blowing up, and they're not going to, well, maybe they put him in right field. I don't know if he has the arm for right field.
He's got a decent arm, but he's the center fielder. He can fly.
He's a good center. He's the athletic type of player. Him and Fitzgerald and Ramos, those are three building blocks. Now, we need to see more on McCray. We need to see if he's a flash in the pan or he has some sustainability. But he's got the kind of skills that we talk about are good for the ballpark. Whether management gets behind them and commits them is another story. And I think we all know where that's going to go if they stick with the same front office.
Well, I sure hope they just leave McCray alone. You know what? You got 30. What is their record now? 62 and 63?
I think they're 2 games under 500.
No, one. So they're 62 and 63. They're 1 game. Let me look here.
Now, do you somewhat understand? Does the chat somewhat a little bit understand why it wasn't a couple of weeks ago? Me and Bora had a good spirited debate. I think Dan was.
Yeah, 37 games left. 37 games.
Dan, you were in the middle on the re-sign Blake Snell. And my whole reason was, okay, you're going to give Blake Snell 4 years and 150, 160 million for what? Like, you're still not going to have hitting if you still keep Farhan and you still keep having the same philosophy. You're going to have a $40 million pitcher who might have a 2.93 ERA and he's going to win 8 games for you because your team doesn't hit. So is it worth paying a guy $40 million if he wins 8 games for you? In my opinion, no, it does not at all. You get a lineup that can actually hit some actually middle of the lineup people, then Snell's value becomes a lot more because he'll win now 15, 16, 17 games because the team is scoring 5 to 6 runs a game. But with this lineup and the way the roster is construed, paying Blake Snell would be a waste of money, in my opinion.
You might be right. I mean, I think the team needs to just rebuild it.
Ground up, blow it up. Yeah.
Well, we've been saying this for a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
They missed their opportunity in 22 to sell Rodon. And then they, imagine if they would have started selling back then and started building guys and giving guys a chance. That's why I like watching the A's, because you're seeing these young guys play. And, 37 games left. Exactly. 30 against 500 and above teams, says Corpo 24. Axis and Allies. Hey, that's another new name. I haven't seen that one. Thanks.
Welcome.
Elston Gunn. Another new name. Boy. All right. Well, very good.
The word of mouth is growing.
Burns at Ben Bamboo. Maybe going after Corbin Burns. Okay, so let's think about this. They're 62 and 63. The Atlanta Braves will win tonight, and their record will go to, let me look and see what their record is right now. Braves are 64 and 58. They're going to be 65 and 58. Okay, so the Braves are going to be 65 and 58. That means they have what?
That's
123. So they have 2 more games than the Giants. Giants have 37. The Braves have 39.
39. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's assume that the Braves go only 19. Let me pull up the standings so you guys can see what I'm looking at here. Okay, there we go. All right. Well, let's just look at the wild card here because that's what we're looking at, right? I mean, giant. Okay. So the Atlanta Braves, right now they're 64 and 58, but they're currently leading the California. I keep calling them what are they? The LA Angels now? To me, they're the California Angels, right? That's what I grew up with, California Angels. Then they became what? The Anaheim Angels? They're not the LA Angels. Forget it. Okay. So that game is currently in the top of the eighth. It's 11-2 Braves. So put the win column in for the Braves. They're 65 and 58. So 65 wins, 39. What did we say they have left? 39. Let's say they go 19 and 20, Los. That gives them 84 wins at 19 and 20. And I don't think the Braves are going 19 and 20. But let's say they do. That means the Giants, to get in, have to win 85 games. That means they'd have to go 23 and 14 against teams that are over 500.
Yeah. They'd have to play, the Braves would have to play 500 ball, which more than likely they won't. They're going to keep pushing. They don't want to just be the third seed. They want to see if they can maybe catch it, Arizona and San Diego. So they're going to keep playing. They're not going to start resting guys. So they're going to, if they play 500, the Giants have to play basically 8-9 games over 500 against good teams. Now, if they play a little bit more than 500, then the Giants are going to have to play completely lights out. So, I mean, just analytically, since that's what the Giants like, the numbers do not compute.
They're 5 back now, the Braves in the loss column. Braves have 58 losses, Giants 63. And as we've said here, you can make up wins. You cannot make up losses. Wins are in your control. Losses, you're depending on the other team to lose. And the Giants, I don't see it happening. I don't think they're going to even make it to 500 at this point when I look at the schedule. In fact, is Mark Graves, another member, says not happening. Correct, Marco. Correct. Let's take a look, Los, at the Giants' actual schedule, shall we? Pull up the schedule and look at this, because what's interesting here, Los, is when we pull this up, just give me a minute. Let me find it here. Come on. Printable. Why does that? Oh, I know why it didn't. Excuse me. I messed up and hit the wrong thing. Now, here we go. Okay. So 24 schedule. And that didn't work. What the heck's going on here? I'm sorry. I'm just pulling up. All right. There we go. Now I can bring it up here. This is what's interesting. We talked about the August schedule. You guys can see that right there?
Yeah, if you could zoom in a little bit more on September.
Well, I want to check August right now because for some reason it's not giving me. Okay. August, they went 2-1 against. Okay, they went 5-2 on that road trip. So they started out August 5-2. Beat Detroit the first 2 games. They were 7-2. Lost to Detroit 7-3. Lost 3 to Atlanta 7-6. 8. They're 8-7 right now. They might not even finish the month over 500. I said they'd finish 3 over, which they should. They've got the A's tomorrow with Blake Snell, and then the White Sox for 3.
I think the White Sox take 2 out of 3 from them.
Wouldn't shock me. Wouldn't shock me.
Honestly, do.
And then let's look at September. Look at that schedule after the Miami. They got Arizona for 3, San Diego for 3, Milwaukee and San Diego again. The road trip's brutal. Baltimore, Kansas City, and Arizona. That's a 9-game stretch. They'll be lucky if they win 4 on that trip.
That's a wrap.
Baltimore's fighting for the division with the Yankees. And Kansas City is fighting to stave off Boston. And Arizona is fighting to get the first wild card. And San Diego's fighting for the first wild card. You got San Diego 6 times and the Diamondbacks 6 times. And both of those teams are much better than the Giants.
I don't think anybody should be surprised at why the Giants are struggling. I mean, if you just look at it, while Ramos and Fitzgerald have been nice, energy, youthful, enthusiasm, production to the lineup, everybody else is having a down year, more or less. I mean, let's just go around the diamond. Patrick Bailey is not hitting very well. He's really in a tailspin. Probably is going to end up around 230, 240. Lamont Wade is not hitting what he did. He gets on base, but he doesn't drive in any runs. He doesn't steal any bases. He doesn't add any power. Thairo Estrada has been absolutely horrible. He was thought to be at the beginning of the season one of our better players. He's been a complete bust. Nick Ahmed had a strong April and then fizzled out from there. Chapman is who we thought he was. Great glove, about a 230, 240 hitter that doesn't hit with runners in scoring position. Conforto is who we thought he is, streaky hitter, 230, 240 hitter. Lee got hurt. So is it any wonder? Why are people shocked that the Giants are struggling hitting? They have so many holes in that lineup. I mean, just the people that just think they're automatically, the light's going to come on and they're just going to all start raking, it's just not realistic. They have to have 4 or 5 guys hitting in this lineup to even score 5 or 6 runs, even 4 runs. And at best, they have maybe 2 or 3 guys going. When they had a nice little streak, Ramos was hot. Fitzgerald was hot. Even Chapman was starting to hit a little. So you saw some runs being put on the board. But now Ramos is slowing down a little bit. Fitzgerald is slowing down a little bit. And everybody else is doing what they've been doing all year long. So it's no surprise, guys. It is absolutely no surprise to those of us that kind of know the game a little bit and just realistically see it for what it is, that this is just a very, very flawed hitting team. They got some upside pitching. I know Robert Rothberg talks about that all the time, but you need more than that to be a good team. You do.
Aaron says, even the Giants are ready for 49ers football.
Yes, please. I'm ready.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Asaf, how about you be positive for one day? I'm positive all the time, except when I talk about the Giants. No, Asaf, how about what you're asking me to do is, okay, let me do this. Let me just hold on. Let me do something here real quick.
Melvin does suck. I've said that all year long.
All right. I'm going to now get into, I just got to get out of reality for a second, please. Okay. I'm just went into another world. I'm no longer negative. Let's go Giants. Let's go Giants. Let's go Giants. Man, I'm telling you, Los, this team is going places. I see the Giants. They got 37 games to go. I think they can win 30. I think this team can still win the division. I think 92 games is nothing for the Giants. I see a 92-70 San Francisco Giants. I don't think anybody can stop them, Los. Blake Snell, Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, and Kyle Harrison. I see him probably coming back here in the next week or so, throwing a no-no. I think this team is going to get so hot that they're going to be hard to beat. I think they're going all the way. What say you?
Oh, I concur. I mean, just their pitching is just outstanding. I mean, these young guys have come up and just given the team such a boost of energy. Bob Melvin is a proven winner. Farhan is about the smartest guy I've ever seen in the front office. He pushes all the right buttons. It's just a matter of time within the last 37 games that they put it all together and show the country and show the world and show all the Homer fans that this is the team that we all thought that they were going to be. I mean, World Series, man. I mean, everybody stop what you're doing in October. Don't make vacation plans. This team is going to the World Series. Print those World Series tickets out right now. Giants and Orioles, I'm calling it. It's
orange and black, black and orange. It's
orange.
It's gonna be an orange and black series, man. It is gonna be awesome. And Robert Rothberg is going to be, as Mitchell and Ness says, he's pretty excited right now as we just did this monologue of the Giants. And because of how we said it, Asif's happy now. He says, "Good job, Dan. I did it." But what does this do? Hold on. I lost my. Did you see the comment by Mitchell and Ness?
While we're at it, inflation is probably going to be outstanding in another month. Gas will be under $2 a gallon.
Did you see Mitchell and Ness?
Any wars will cease to exist in the next week or so, and everybody will be singing "Kumbaya" and hugging in the streets. Social media will be a positive place. Nobody will be jealous of each other. So it's all positive on the show. It's just a beautiful world.
Did you see these comments by Mitchell and Ness?
I don't
know if I should. Can you see the starred comments? Can you hit starred? Hold on. I'll put it in there.
I just see new member when I.
Here, let me star this one. There we go. See it now?
I love Mitchell and Ness, man. He's straightforward, man. I love it.
I might lose it here. I might lose it.
Well,
okay.
The thing about it, Asif, is like, and Robert, and by the way, where's Giovanni?
What happened to Giovanni? He only comes in here.
Why doesn't he show up when the team loses? But
Robert, this is getting great. Robert says, "Thank you. I can now sleep like a baby."
I love it.
Good sense of humor, Robert. Oh, I love it. Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know if any of you are Star Trek fans out there, but Spock had a saying that said something along the lines of, "The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one or the few." So we try to be honest about our evaluation of the Giants. If you want us to lie and just say what you want us to say, it will please basically 3 people in the chat. And the other 200 to 400 people in there will be, "You guys are a bunch of homers and liars." We will give the Giants love when they deserve love. We will give them flowers when they deserve flowers. Nothing else. As long as they keep doing what they're doing, they're going to get an honest evaluation from us. That's just how this show is run. And that goes for all the teams too. So, I mean, it was funny. It was nice. Maybe it was refreshing, and it was sarcastic as hell, but it's very difficult to lie when it comes to evaluating your teams. Listen, we don't get any joy out of doing this. You don't think we want the Giants to win? Dan and I and Robert have been fans probably between the 3 of us, I would say more than the whole chat put together when it's all said and done. We want the team to win, but I mean, the front office is just, and that goes all the way down. It's not just Ron. I've said it repeatedly. It's ownership and it's Melvin. It's a complete cluster. You know what? Blow it up and just start over.
I agree. And guess what we got here? We got a new member, Robert Brown. Let's give him the big welcome to the member. Thank you. One more, Robert. All right. And not to be outdone, we've got another member that just joined, Irish Luck. Let's give Irish Luck the big crowd. One more. Here it comes. All right. Woo! The membership is growing here. 2 more members added. We had one earlier tonight. That's 3 members in the show. We want to thank you guys for that. And you know what I'm going to do? I know that somebody out there wants to make a comment tonight. So let me do this here. Hold on here. Let me take that up.
While you're doing that, Irish Luck, welcome to the show, lad. You're very welcome.
There you go. Now, how do we do this? Let's see. What's going on? What happened to my ability to put chats in? How come I lost it?
Mark Graves, when we have our Shanahan discussion, I don't know if I'll say a few positive things about him. A few. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that show.
It says I can't post comments to some directions here. What's going on? I can't even put comments in the chat here tonight. I don't know what happened here. Maybe hold on here. Let me see if I can get some help here.
Oh, was he? Oh no, that's disappointing. Cool Breeze. Can you highlight Cool Breeze's comment?
Yeah, let me
wow. Yeah, he's getting that paycheck, man. So he's now got to do 180 and actually just
where's Cool Breeze? Where's that? Right here, this one?
Yep. Of course he does.
Oh,
he's getting a paycheck. Hey, you know what? KMBR, hire me and you'll see I'll double what Kruger's saying because I can do it in English and in Spanish. I can say positive things about the Giants. So put me on the payroll and watch all the positive things that come out of my mouth about the Giants.
There we go.
Hey, money talks.
Okay, I am going to be putting in the link here. Something happened where I can't put comments in. I don't know what the heck the stream did. Can you put a comment in there yourself? All of a sudden, I can't. It says I can't post comments to some destinations. I don't know. Let me see if I don't know what happened. It's weird. Let me see comments. Oh, now I can. Now I can. Okay. So what I'm going to do is.
Yeah, I typed my comment.
Okay.
It went through.
You're going to see.
Oh my God.
Gosh. Okay. Let's see.
Thank you, Carlo P. I know a lot of people that do not like that dude. And what did he do to his hair? Jesus, man. Looks like a 60s guitar player. Have you seen Carlos Ramirez on TV, Dan?
Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of him, but whatever. Some guys you like, some guys you don't. Not everybody likes us. It's just, personality styles.
Okay, I put the link out there, guys. Anybody wants to come on in? This is going to be not too long of a show, so if you want to come on in now. We're going to wrap this thing up before the next 15 minutes. So come on into the show. I know I've got somebody that okay, link is there. I know that our buddy Cam may be joining us in here. He's got some stuff to share. And all right, we got Bob Brown. How you doing, Bob? You're in the show. Can you hear us? Okay, you got a mic?
Can you hear us? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. You might if you're watching this, it's going to be a delay. Yeah, there's a delay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take you out right now, Bob, because you have to actually come in and turn the sound down what you're watching. Otherwise, you'll get feedback. Okay. So hang backstage there, Bob, for a sec. Get your mic fixed up and your however you can hear us. If you got some earplugs or whatever, and we'll give you a try in another minute here.
Are we're gonna finish it off with Giants, or are we gonna talk any 49ers or any preseason football?
We could do that. We could do that. Hold on. Let's bring Bob back in.
Yeah,
Bob. Bob, you want to just talk directly through the StreamYard link that you came in on?
Hey, how about now? Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Okay, so I've turned off everything except the stream link.
Perfect. Hey, I like the hat. Mets.
It's a tribute to the 1954 World Series.
New York Giants. That's a New York Giants hat.
I grew up watching Willie Mays.
Nice.
So my son got to play in Cooperstown a couple of times, so I picked up this hat.
Nice. Love it. So you're a longtime Giants fan. So
yes. We've had season tickets since the Giants came out here. When my dad sold his business, he kept the tickets.
Very cool.
Let me. I don't know how long you've been a part of the show, but let me ask you a question I asked a couple months ago.
Sure.
What is the best Giants team of all time?
62. I like 62.
I like that answer. That team did not win a World Series, but man, the Hall of Fame talent that was on that roster.
Absolutely.
I cannot argue that. Good answer. It was a spirited debate about 2 months ago, Dan. I asked the question, and it was 2014, 19. What was the team that won 103 games? Fell short to the Braves.
21.
The 93 team.
93 team.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Maybe the best defensive team the Giants have ever had, but there was no wild card and fell one game short of the Braves. Thank you, Colorado Rockies, 0-16 against the Braves that year. So
my son and I have a discussion that I'm 64, he's 21, and we both have 3 World Series rings. Teams, Giants. He lives in a lucky time.
Yeah. That show, we even had a fantasy matchup of the 62 Giants versus the 93 Giants. So it was Marichal versus Billy Swift in game 1.
Oh,
John
Marichal.
I'll take Marichal too. I think I'll take the 62 middle of the order lineup too. Yeah, I think Mr. Burkett would have got rocked by McCovey, Cepeda, and Mays. So yeah, I think that goes without saying. 62.
Yeah, it's hard to be a Giants fan right now. I'm still a fan. Go out to like 30, 40 games a year, but it's hard. I think, as I mentioned earlier, Chapman being middle of the lineup, I love him, but he's just not the bat we need. He's a 7 guy, right? And why we didn't get anybody the last couple of years when we have a chance to to add to the lineup,
right,
is a joke. And then you look at I think some rankings of the farm system came out yesterday, and the Giants were 23.
So he hasn't built the farm system, and he hasn't built the big club. I mean, there's not much to get excited about. When I've never watched so few Giants games in my life like I have the last 2 years. I used to pretty much watch. If I'm home, I'm watching more or less every game. Maybe not the whole 9 innings, but I'm watching a good majority of it. And now it's just not important to me. It really is not. I'll watch it just for the show's sake if I'm coming on with Dan and kind of need to know what I'm talking about what just happened. But it's just a boring, uninspiring team. And, you're hearing a lot of that isn't it coincidental? You got 3 guys right now that have been fans for 30, 40, 50 years. Like, we know good baseball when we've seen it. So when you hear a lot of the comments about we're still excited about Giants baseball in 2024, probably a safe bet that you haven't been a fan for very long, or you just don't know too much about baseball, because this is not quality baseball from start to finish. It is not. It's a bad baseball, and professional sports is entertaining at the end of the day. Yes, wins and losses are important, but the Giants are just like a bad movie, and you're just going to keep paying money to go see a bad movie day after day after day.
And Yep. And Dan hits the nail on the head when he talks about how we use our rookies.
Yeah.
Right. You got to play them. You have to. And their confidence is shot because if they have a bad week, they're gone.
Right.
Right. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, they said about Luciano there, he's going to be our DH.
Right.
Year. He's gone. It's I don't know how anybody builds confidence playing for the Giants.
It is rough. It's very rough, and it's as long as Farhan's here, it's going to be this way. Nothing's going to change. A tiger doesn't change its stripes. I've said this. They'll never, ever win a thing with Farhan because this philosophy will not work. The only way it works is if everything goes perfect, and you have to have 3 or 4 guys have big years, like Posey, Belt, Crawford. They all had big years, right? And then you had the pitching with Gosman and Webb. And then you had all these crazy antics by late night Lamont coming up and hitting big home runs. Donovan Solano coming through with home runs in the, down 2 in the 9th. And they just, everything went right that year. But they don't have stars. They have, their best player, all-around player is probably Chapman.
Yes.
And he's not great enough to carry a team. So he has to be – Chapman would be perfect on a really good team. You stick him on the Yankees, you stick him on the Dodgers, stick him on the Phillies. He just blends in, and his baseball will just uplift some of the guys. But here he's expected to carry the team, and he's not that type of hitter. He's a 230-ish to 240 hitter. Look, if he was as good as everybody says he was or is, this guy would be finishing the year close to 100 RBIs because he's battling in the middle of the order. But he's going to finish with 75. Maybe he tops out at 80. Yeah, maybe. And this is your middle of the order bat. It just tells you he's not clutch, and he doesn't, and the pressure's on him. If he's in the 7th spot, he's an afterthought on a good team because it's like, okay, whatever he gives you in the 7th spot, like you take his stats at the 7th spot right now, but you can't take that at the 4-5. That just tells you that this team, that's why they're not scoring runs with runners in scoring position, because it's him, it's Bailey, it's guys that aren't big hitters that are coming up in key situations constantly.
Yeah, totally agree.
Bob, let me ask you, Bob, what I ask all OGs that I meet, whether it's on the show or whether I meet them in person. I bring up a lot on this channel. What, in your opinion, are some of the reasons why older pitchers in the 60s, 70s, and 80s consistently could go 8 or 9 innings, pitch every 4 days, and not get hurt compared to today's starting pitcher who pitches go ahead. Yeah.
I think 2 things. One is they did it throughout their career, so to build up that stamina, right? I do believe that today's pitchers also put a bigger strain on their arm because they don't trust the fastball as much, right? But a good fastball, especially up in the zone, can get anybody out. And Bum did it right. My son pitches in college, and one of the reasons he's successful is he does the fastball up in the zone, right? And he'll challenge the hitters. That's what you have to do.
A fastball properly located is still the best pitch in baseball.
Absolutely. Nolan Ryan, prime example.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think they're trying to fool too many guys. I think you see so many pitchers, if you watch a game, they have them 0-2 and they start nibbling, and all of a sudden it becomes 3-2, and then they fall off. So what should have been a guy striking out or being out in 3 to 4 pitches, it's taking 8 to 9 pitches to get them out. So that's going to, make the pitch count go up. And then, of course, they can, barely go over 100, 110 pitches without the organization and taking them out for fear of being hurt because we have $30, $40 million invested in it. So No, from a baseball point, from a baseball,
out.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, you look at Schmidt, right? He comes up and on ESPN, they'll show the average and the quadrants of the plate, right? Anything middle up, he can't hit it consistently, right? And there's so many hitters like that. So there's a lot of strikeouts. So people are trying to get all the outs by strikeout instead of putting the ball in play.
In your opinion, who is the best starting pitcher you've ever seen pitch for the Giants?
Juan Marichal.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
I don't think
at the end of his career, he learned the screwball, right? Got one more pitch, right? Yeah.
God, he had about 8 pitches from 8 different angles already. I swear, when it comes to like greatest pitchers of all time, Marichal is not mentioned enough. Like,
I know he's not.
He was so dominant. My God.
Yeah, and people from his era say that. Now, he never got the Cy Young because he was in the Bob Gibson and Koufax prime times.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Right? But that's a one-year award, right? So Marichal's up there with all of them.
I'd give anything. He was a little before my time, but I studied him quite a bit. I would give anything to watch him pitch in his prime live at a yard. Just sitting in the lower behind the plate and just watch his pitches and watch his movement. What a just absolute genius with the ball.
You want to see something crazy, Los? Check out Marichal's numbers.
I know.
It's here it is. Look at the complete games in that column right there. Oops, I hit the wrong one. Complete games. Look, 30 at age 30. This is not all of his stats because he was pitching in the early 60s. I don't know where's the rest of his stats.
244 complete games in his career.
Yeah, 244. Where's his stats from like early 60s?
He would be making $100 million a year based on today's pitchers. $100 million a year, not a problem. Because the bullpen, you got the night off, buddy. Look at the innings pitched. 325 at age 30. 321 innings pitched. How many starts?
There it is. I see what they did. This is the complete games in order. That's why it's got the seasons mixed up. Because it's showing from top to bottom. Okay.
So look at 1968 through 19. What's weird? How the years go doesn't exactly go in chronological order.
All right.
But anyway,
there we go. There's the years.
There we go. Thank you. So look at the game started, guys, and this is the point that I just made to Bob. Like starting 61, 27 games started, 36, 40, 33, 37, 36, 26, 38, 36, 33, 37. 24, 32. What does that tell me? He didn't get hurt. Throwing all those pitches. I will
also,
never.
He only did it. He did it on 3 days rest.
I will never buy into at 100 pitches and every 5 days. He is just one guy. Throw up Tom Seaver's stats, and he might be just as good, if not equal, to on the complete games.
Let me pull up.
That is ridiculous. That is just staggering numbers.
Let me pull up Tom Seaver here.
How hard did Marichal throw, Bob?
Low 90s.
I think in the 90s, but they didn't really publish it back then.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, they didn't really.
And a lot of people say, they would say Ryan was 90s, but they think they understated it, right? So I don't know.
Ryan was definitely over.
Okay, there's Seavers from 67. He pitched. He didn't pitch like Marichal. Marichal pitched 325 innings.
Not as many complete games, too.
No.
ERA maybe. Yeah, ERA is about comparable. I think they're both in the high 2s for their career, give or take.
But what's amazing though, Bob and Los, they did this on 3 days rest. It was a 4-man rotation for the most part in baseball. And they, I don't know if they didn't throw, they went 9 and then they had 3 days rest. If they took 3 days off, because today guys pitch on the third day generally. 2 days they'll pitch, and then they'll take 2 days of rest, and then they'll have their throwing on the side, and then they get their full 4 days rest. So I don't know.
So I want to focus on Ryan Murdian's comment to the three of us. This is the 60s and 70s, a different game.
Okay? Which one that is? Let me look at Ryan. Which one is that?
934.
Oh, this one. Okay.
Okay, so let's focus on that, because this is always said. This is 60s and 70s, and it's a different game. Okay, it's pretty much the same rules. It's the same distance from the mound to home plate. Maybe they condition themselves differently. The money is definitely differently. But this is where I'm going to push back and challenge. Bob and Dan, what is different about the game then than now that pitchers and human beings with right and left arms can all of a sudden, they did it back then, but they can't do it now? I don't buy that this is a different game. It's still the game of baseball with the same rules. I just think they baby them a little bit more, but I would love to hear your guys' feedback on that.
I think part of it is the falling in love with the closer, right? That started in the 70s, right? And so you'd be great. You'd be at 100 pitches, but they'd still go to the closer. So that's one thing that's changed, but we don't see pitchers going 7-8 innings anymore. Right?
Yeah, even 7 or 8 innings. You're right.
Yeah. So that's not really an argument. But that's one of the differences, I think, between Marichal and Seaver. Seaver was more, I think, in when the closer started being used.
Right. Yeah, the closer. That's a really good point. The closers started.
A great point. It's a great
back
point.
with the Mets. Who was their big Tug McGraw in and Tug and
the closers really started coming in the late 70s and 80s, right?
Closers. Really early. I think it was more like mid 70s. Like you had
Goose Gossage was the first one to come to mind in the late 70s as being
the Fingers.
Closer.
Yeah, and Fingers Raleigh was in the early 70s with the series
A's. Great, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, they had Raleigh Fingers was the big guy, yeah. He was probably one of the early ones, like you said, Goose Gossage. He came right after that. I mean, within years of that, but that was the big difference, I think. Yeah, the closer, because they used to go 8, and then those bullpens, the pitching staffs used to be about 10 deep in the 60s and early 70s. They had 4 starters, and they had 4 or 5 relievers and a closer.
And you know what that can do for your roster? You can maneuver a lot more things with your hitters when you only have a 10-man pitching staff, as opposed to having to commit 15 guys on a staff.
Well, I think it's 13 pretty much. Most teams do.
13 to 14.
Yeah, they go 13. Some will go sometimes they'll go as low as 12, and they'll go 14 position players, but it's generally 13. 13 is, and I think the league makes you have a minimum of 12, don't they? Isn't there a minimum that you have to carry 12 pitchers? Pretty sure, which is kind of crazy. I would love, you know what, man? It would be great to change baseball and be a pioneer. And you got a 26-man roster. Imagine if you could build a team if you were the only team, okay, we got 5 starters, and we're going to build these guys up. They're going to go 7 to 8 every game. And we're just going to work them. And our bullpen, we're only going to have to carry 5 extra guys in the pen. We're going to have 16 guys on the bench. We're going to have multiple pinch hitters available. And so, you play, 9 in the field, and 8. Well, you got 9 plus a DH, right? So you got 9 total. You got 9 batters. So you got 9 plus 10 pitchers. That's 19. You got 7 on the bench. 7 dudes on the bench versus 3 or 4.
Why can't you, as an organization, start that early when you draft a pitcher?
That's what I'm saying. I would be the pioneer.
Start them early in single A and then double A and triple A, and build these guys' arms up so when they do get to the major leagues, they can be like Logan Webb. And they can go 7 to 8 innings every single time. Then you're more valuable to the team. But it has to start in the minors. When you're still a 19, 20-year-old prospect. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. But by the time and then here's the other thing, guys, too, is, guys that were more, thickly sturdy built are, there's obviously exceptions. Pedro Martinez was a slight built guy, and Timmy would go deep into games a lot. He was slight built, but for the most part, like guys that are broad shouldered, like Seaver was, like Bumgarner was, even Matt Cain, they're just physically built to go longer distances like that. I think a lot has to do with it as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. You got to start it in the minors.
Yeah, you got it.
College does some of that, but a lot of times you're not playing multiple games in a week, right? It's not the same type of number of games.
Definitely. No, very excellent points, Bob. Excellent points. I love the history of the game. So I love talking to OGs and talking about.
Yeah. Is that hat black or is it? It's
navy black. Blue? So it's a New York Giants hat.
Okay. Yeah. Now I see. Yeah, I can tell the NY is different. Yeah, than the Mets. Yeah. Okay. At first, when I looked at it, it looked like it was blue and orange. So, but now
my very first Giants game, Willie Mays' first play of the game at Candlestick, 375 before they changed the stadium.
Yes.
Dove, hit the fence, and caught the ball. Right. So I was in love. My first A's game was the very first bat day when you got real bats.
Yes.
I got a 32-inch bat. And I'm 8 years old. Sal Bando. It rained.
Oh, Sal Bando,
and
third
the A's
baseman.
lost 1-0 because of an error. I was a Giants fan for life.
Wow,
love it.
Yeah, those A's teams were pretty good with Bando, Campaneris, Dick Green, and their first baseman was I'm drawing a blank. Who was their first baseman in those World Series? I know Gene Tennis played there sometimes. He was a catcher. But they had somebody else at first, a lefty. Who was that?
I do not know. I cannot remember.
And their outfield was Rudy
North,
and Jackson, Billy North, and then they had Reggie and Wright. And
who the heck DH for the A's then?
They didn't have DH back then.
Not back then. The 70s didn't quite have the DH yet.
Oh, yeah, they didn't have. I should know that. I should know that.
Mike Epstein. Thanks, Ron. That's it. The lefty, Mike Epstein.
Yep.
Wow.
And then their pitching, they had John Blue Moon Odom. They had Catfish Hunter. They had Ken Holtzman, the lefty.
Paul Lindblad.
And Vida Blue.
Vida Blue, that's right. And they had somebody else, too, a righty. He won 20 games.
Did you say Ken Holtzman?
Yeah, Holtzman. There was another right-hander, Dobson. Didn't they have Dobson, Chuck Dobson? Yeah. And then their bullpen, of course, everybody remembers Raleigh Fingers. But, man, those
Raleigh
guys
would pitch multiple innings back then.
Yes. 3 straight World Series titles, 72, 3, and 4. And then they lost in 75 to Boston in the American League Championship. But, back then, the A's, you think about that. They won 3 in a row, and they didn't even have a radio station.
Yes.
That carried the team. You had to go on some crazy, to listen to the games. You couldn't find them on the dial. They were just this one little spot. Back, how the radio wasn't digital back then. You had to move that little red bar, on your transistor radio and try to get it lined up just perfectly. Oh my gosh.
And that was the last great team before free agency.
That's right, because Kurt Flood blew it up.
Yep.
You know what would the history of the Oakland A's be if they actually had, since they've been in Oakland, if they actually had owners that had deep pockets and spent money?
Oh, they'd be the Warriors. They'd be
God, because they won despite of Finley. Watch that documentary about the swinging A's, and he just did not pay people whatsoever. And every owner since then they've been a low budget, low market team since I can remember, since they've been in Oakland, and they've won, World Series despite that. But imagine if they had the deep pockets of a Joe Lacob.
And if they had a powerful radio station like the Giants have, KSFO, then KMBR.
Because I tell you, the A's over the years, they have, I think, out-drafted and gotten better players than the Giants have.
Yes.
Since they've been in the Bay Area, I hate to say that as a Giants fan, but I'm just being real here. The A's have scouted and gotten some good players. They couldn't keep them. They left for free agencies, but they did a great job in their scouting department of finding players and developing them. And if they had the ownership money, then it would be them that would be the team of the Bay Area, not the Giants. And that's hard to admit.
It really is. You think about it. Had they – because, we know the Bay Area supported Oakland. They supported the Raiders and the Warriors, right?
Yep.
I mean, championship teams, people were crazy about the Raiders. The Raiders were neck and neck with the Niners until they moved to LA the first time. And when they moved, they moved right after they won the Super Bowl, I think, didn't they? The year Jim Plunkett was at 1980. 80. And then the Niners were fortunate to win the very next year in 81 with Joe, and everything took off. I mean, the Niners were still, you got to remember the Niners from like 75 through 80 were terrible. They were terrible. They had the good years in the early 70s with Dick Nolan, 70, 71, 72. But like from 73 to 80, they were awful. And the Raiders were killing it. They were in the AFC Championship almost every year. And, a couple Super Bowls. But then they decided to move. And then you had, with the A's, they had the team, and the Giants were terrible too. But the Giants were first.
Yeah.
The Giants were here and came in 58. And the A's didn't get here till 66, I think it was. So the Giants had 8 years on them, and everybody loved Mays and McCovey, right? And Marish, they were McCovey was the homegrown first rookie of the year in 59. And then it's just like they were putting out players, and then they get the World Series in 62. And the Giants had that start. But had the A's done it right with the right owner, they could have taken over the Giants. The Giants were so lucky that the A's had Charlie Finley running the team.
Yep.
And 68, Eddie K says 68 for 68 the A's came. You're right. 66 they were still in Kansas City. So, but the A's coming 10 years later, and then all of a sudden they're winning World Series, and the Giants, they won 3 World Series before the Giants had won 1, and they won 4 World Series before the Giants, the second time the Giants had made it, they lost to the A's. So the A's had 4 world titles to the Giants 0 after 1989.
Yeah. And this is why their fans felt so angry towards the Giants, because they, up until that time, they had consistently won. The Giants had, and they were still the Cinderella stepsister in the Bay Area, and they shouldn't have been. They should have been the number 1 team.
Absolutely. Imagine if Joe Lacob owned that team.
That's what I'm saying.
He would have marketed it different. The Coliseum you would probably have a brand new stadium.
Yep.
down in Oakland on the water. You would have a beautiful stadium sold out. You would have had a big radio station carrying them, and he would have marketed it, and they would have outdone the Giants. In fact, had Joe Lacob type guy been around in the 70s, the Giants may have left in 1993.
Boy, that makes for a great what if show. We're just sneak previewing it now, but I mean, that is a very deep topic that I don't think many stations, many channels discuss. Is the A's very easily, if they went this way with an owner and the Giants went that way with an owner, could have been the Giants that could have been having to go to Sacramento and play in a AAA ballpark. Who knows?
I think they would have went to. I think if
they would have went to Florida in '92,
they would have went to Tampa. They would have went to Tampa because the love was the no one really. I mean, not no one, but the A's just never caught on with the entire Bay Area. I mean, it is a two-team market, but when you had the Raiders here and in their glory days, it was a real battle. It was a two-team market for football.
Absolutely.
And it was like there was hatred for each team, and yet they both dominated the markets.
And Oakland won before San Francisco did in baseball and football.
Correct.
They were winners. The Niners were the laughing stock of the NFL through the seven. Well, they had an early run in the early 70s, but
early 70s through 72.
Brody, and they had a good run.
Yeah, and then Dallas kept knocking them out, and then they were bad until 81. But hey, Ben Bamboo makes a really good comment at 9:46, Dan. If you can highlight. We have kind of touched on this subject before. 9:46.
Let me go up here. Hold on,
I think that's a very, very strong point. We've touched on that a little bit. Wanted to see what Bob thought about that, what you thought about that, because I think scouts are the bloodline of an organization, and I think that's where Farhan made a huge mistake, firing a bunch of scouts when he first got here and depending too much on analytics. And if there's some really good scouts that have a track record of finding talent, and maybe the A's are not paying them that much, why the heck wouldn't the Giants poach off of that and try to get them? I mean, or the not the Marlins, the Rays. The Rays consistently have the lowest payroll in all of baseball, but they're usually competitive year after year, which means they're finding talent. These organizations do not have the payroll. That's what makes the Giants so frustrating. The Giants are like a Bentley. They have a real nice car, and the A's are basically an AMC Pacer, and the Rays are basically a Toyota Corolla, and they're keeping up with our Bentley when we have 5 times the payroll that they don't. If anything, it makes the Giants frustrations over the last 5 or 6 years. It's that pretty higher payroll and not much to show for it, which means they're not scouting very well at all.
And it shows. We're the ranking of our farm system being 23. It shows. One, we're not getting them, and then the ones we get, it doesn't seem like they're developing, right? Luciano has been on our radar forever, but he just doesn't seem to be developing.
Yeah.
Or they're coming up to the league with holes.
Yeah. Bob, how long when did you first start following the Giants? I know you said 54 your father was. Were you
my first game was 1966.
Okay.
I was 6 years old.
Okay, so you're just a year older than me. You were born in 60?
Yep.
Okay, I was born in 61. In fact, my birthday is actually Monday. I'll be 63.
Happy birthday.
Nice.
Oh, thanks. So yeah, I started following baseball in 68, actually. The year Bobby Bonds came up as a rookie. I remember his first game as a 7-year-old. He hit a home run. I think it was a grand slam against the Dodgers, if I'm not mistaken. I know it was a home run, but it might have been a grand slam. I'll have to look that up. But that was I just love. People don't realize that how spoiled these younger guys are today. We got 18 ball games a year to watch on Channel 2 with Gary Park. 18. Right. We got the Dodgers for 9. We got the Padres for 8 or so, and then there'd be like one game they'd do some other game. Sometimes they do 20. The big package is when you got up to 20 road games, no home games, 2 divisions, 6 teams before they didn't even go to the divisions until what year did they go to the division?
71 maybe?
69
or 70. I don't know. Right. I remember the 71 season. I was 10 years old, and I had tickets to the World Series.
The Giants made the playoffs in 72 using the division series. I think.
71, yep. Actually. They lost to the Pirates.
Yeah,
Bob Robertson.
Kingman sort of blew it in right field.
Yeah. And Bob Robertson for the Pirates hit like 3 or 4 homers in a 5-game series. Giants won game 1, and they lost the next 3. It was a best of 5. My uncle was friends with Horace Stoneham. Mm-hmm. So he had tickets we were going to the World Series. I was 10 years old. I was so excited. I remember watching those games on TV and to see the Giants lose, and then to wait till 1987 just to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Again, 16 years of no playoffs, and then you had to, and then all the way to 89. That's why when Robbie Thompson, when Hank Greenwald announced that play, and he said 27 years of frustration or waiting, it's over, and I started crying.
Yeah,
here I am. I started crying. I was what?
That was a great.
I was like 28 years old, and I'm crying because the Giants made it to the World Series. I never thought I would see the day.
Yeah, I cried in 87. I think it was 87 when, as Whitey Herzog said, we won all the games we were supposed to. The Giants lost one they shouldn't have. And that was Candy Maldonado's playing right.
Oh, the lights. He lost it in the light. That was Dravecki's great pitch game when they lost one to
what a year.
No, do not remind me of that. Hey, Bob. Hey, Bob, assuming Mays is in center field, who are your corner outfielders for your all-time in outfield?
Giants.
Any team. All-time outfield, assuming you have Mays in center. Who are your other two outfielders?
So I'd have to pick Ruth because his bat.
Ooh.
Right. That's a tough one. There are so many great, but Mays is center, Ruth and right.
What kind of defense is Ruth going to give you in right?
Not much. But he was a clutch.
I think I want the all around. You would take him over Aaron, huh?
Well, I might put. Yeah, I think I would, just because of all the championships. Winning means something.
I love it.
Yeah.
What do you got left?
Bonds.
Okay. Bonds, Mays, and Ruth. Can't go wrong with that. Who do you have again, Dan?
My team, when I did my team, I think I did Bonds, Mays, and Aaron. Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's what I did. I mean, look at those guys, though. 4 of the all-time top home run hitters, all-time greats. I mean, oh, my goodness. I know you love Clemente. I know he'd be on your right field.
Oh, and Clemente would be on mine. Right?
I have Aaron. I have
okay,
Aaron.
Who's your let's do it this way. Modern times. Let's say anybody after 50, 1950. So we don't count Ruth and
well, then it'd be Mays for me, Mays, Bonds, and Clemente.
Okay.
I have Hank Aaron over Bonds. I love Hank. I love Barry too. But
yeah, it's
Hank to me is very underrated. People forget he is a class act, and he was a 300 hitter. In addition to all that power, you can't go wrong with any of those.
Who would you pick from 1980 on? So the last 44 years from 80 on. So Mays is out.
Griffey and Bonds.
Yeah, I agree with Griffey and Bonds. It immediately came to light.
Those are the first two that immediately came. God, Ichiro's damn good, but I don't know.
You could put Judge and Wright.
You could also go with Trout before the injuries, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Before the injuries, Trout looked like the next Mickey Mantle or something, man.
I was just gonna say, like, leaving Mantle off any list, like
that's hard too.
Mickey before he got hurt. I mean, what would he have done? And if he had taken care of his body and not partied so much, oh my God, he was physically just a really gifted baseball player. Man, I was
seeing him play. I never had the opportunity to see him play.
But I love how you like immediately lit up when Dan mentioned Clemente. Like,
absolutely.
I mean, what did he do? What did he do really, really well, Bob? I mean, I didn't see him too much live.
Oh, no one ran first to third on him. No one.
Cannon of an arm.
Cannon. But not only a cannon, he got rid of it quickly, and it was accurate. Yeah. Just amazing. And he was quick. He just had great instincts like Mays. You know, Mays was a general out there and was a coach out there, right? Clemente was the same.
Yeah, that's interesting that you use the word instincts because, and I don't want to take credit for it and plagiarize here, but FP Santangelo made a comment the other day on 95.7, and he said this. He said today's baseball players can basically they may throw well and they might hit the ball as far as it can be, and that's it. And that's what they're calling up for now. They're not really a lot of players nowadays that have great baseball instincts, and I think that's something that we don't talk enough about. Understanding the mental side of the game, understanding Mays could have easily ran a lot of base hits into doubles, and he didn't want to. Why? Because they would have pitched around McCovey. Right. I mean, how many guys would do that nowadays? They'd be like, I don't give a shit what the guy behind me is going to be pitched around. I'm getting my double. It's going to mean more money for me in my contract. Mays and Clemente are the two that come to mind that had probably the best instincts of anybody else. Musial might be up there too. Stan was a hell of a smart player. Ted Williams. I mean, I just missed that generation of great baseball.
Aaron says instincts are all in the 3x5 index card.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Facts, brother.
We watched Blake Snell pull out his let's see here. Throw this guy. It's like, oh boy. Well, Bob, man, it's been great having you. You joined as a member tonight as well. That was you, right?
Yeah, that was correct.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
I really appreciate that. How long have you been watching NorCal sports?
This year, I started.
Oh, great.
I'm semi-retired, so I have more time.
Great.
Right.
Great.
And I like that you guys aren't owned by the Giants because the so many other, they won't ask the tough question. Like, I'll end with this. Farhan had an interview last week, and he said, we're going to have the best pitching in baseball. And somebody asked him, well, what about the hitting? He says, well, you can't have the hitting also, the top hitting, chuckle.
Yeah,
well,
I heard that. Yeah, you can.
You need better than what we got. We don't need the best, but we don't have good enough, and that's keeping us back.
Agreed.
Yeah, great. Hey, Bob, welcome. You're welcome to jump into our chat like you did tonight when we open it up. Love having you. Love having the knowledge of people with the game. The history of the game is important. Yep. And it's just great to have. I know that we try to bring a lot of more to the game than just talking about our show, just talking about baseball or whatever. We try to go deeper like you have, and I love that about what you've said.
Historical.
Baseball is the best game ever because every pitch something is happening. You just have to know how to look for it.
Exactly. All right. Well, thanks, Bob. Appreciate you as a member watching NorCal Sports, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, guys. We will be kind of getting ready to close this out. I've got some different things. Let me just wrap this up. And if you're probably looking for the Leave Studio, it's hard to figure out the first few times. I'm still struggling with some things on this doggone StreamYard at times.
We were going to go into 49er football, but then that historical baseball.
That's good stuff.
I love talking 49ers, but when we talk historical baseball, then you get me kind of wavering.
I know. I see you coming, man. I see you getting all
enthusiastic.
Enthusiastic about the game again and stuff.
I love the history of the game. For sure.
I see the glow in your eyes all of a sudden spark when I knew you were saying Clemente, man. It's like here he
comes.
We got 10 minutes before we got to get out of here because
we can finish up some Niners stuff.
We'll finish up Niners. We got literally 10 minutes because we're at 149.42. So we cannot go over 10 hours. I will tease you with this, guys. I am working on an interview to come up with a former head coach in the National Football League, and should be joining hopefully NorCal Sports for an interview, hopefully this next week. And it is a fairly recent head coach. Okay. So this isn't somebody a long time ago, and he's a long time NFL head coach. So we will have that here on NorCal Sports Network. So let's get into some Niner talk. We got about 9 minutes, Los. Go for it. What you got?
Well, I mean, just the Ayuk thing is just getting to be beyond ridiculous. Every day there's an announcement that, oh, he's about to get traded. There's players involved. Everybody's agreed to it. No, please not any of those two guys. And then the next day he's ready to sign with the Niners. He's close. Now the Niners have offered $30 million. I don't even know what the hell is the truth or what is a lie anymore. It's just a big distraction.
It is.
And it was something that I was very concerned about when the Niners lost this last Super Bowl. Because I've watched enough football over the years to know Super Bowl hangovers are very real. They do exist. It's very rare that you lose a Super Bowl, especially in the heartbreaking fashion that the Niners did, and come back and just be a great team all over again. And they're starting off this year with just a ton of distractions, a ton of injuries, a big black cloud over the team. And I tell you what, if the Niners somehow win the Super Bowl this year, they have to be one of the most resilient sports teams I've ever seen in my life on this planet. And I do not say that lightly. They have been through so much between 19 and 21. You think about all the losses and the heartbreaks that they've had between 2019, 2021, Tart dropping the ball, 2022, Purdy gets hurt against the Eagles. Last year, absolutely, probably the worst of them all. If they somehow can just ignore all that and say F you to the whole league and win it, that will be one of the greatest sporting accomplishments I've ever seen, because they have a lot stacked against them. They need to get healthy and they need to be able to try to put it together. But the odds are against them right now. When we do our football preview show, I'll get more into it.
Well, let's take a look at this, Los. Let's look at the losers of every Super Bowl and which was there any of them? I think maybe Miami in the 70s might be the only one that lost and came back and won a Super Bowl. Let's see.
Yep.
Okay. We've got the first 5, nobody. Oh, Dallas did it in Super Bowl 6. They lost Super Bowl 5, came back, won 6.
Yep.
Miami lost 6 to Dallas and came back and won 7 and 8. Looking here, I think recently I don't think it's anybody. I'm just going through here looking. Let me know. Stop me if you see one that Dallas, Buffalo lost. Okay.
Buffalo never won one, but props to them for even getting back there 4 straight times.
Right. Now let's take a look. Huge. Let's take a look from there, from the 90s, because now we're getting a little bit more modern here. We get Denver, nope. Buffalo, 4 straight, nope. And then San Diego didn't come back. Pittsburgh didn't come back. New England, Green Bay, Atlanta, not to be heard for years. Tennessee, no. The Giants, no. St. Louis, no. Oakland, no. Carolina, nope. Philadelphia, Seattle, Chicago, New England, Arizona, Indy, Pittsburgh, New England, 49ers lost, and then Denver lost. Seattle made it back, but lost after winning. Carolina, and that was the one at Levi's, yeah. Okay, Atlanta, the big 28-3 Kyle debacle. New England came back and won. That was it. They lost in 18 and won it in 19. That might be the Niners' only hope, because New England, remember, had been there in 15 and they'd been there in 12, but they also had Tom Brady. But that is the only team since the early, when Dallas and Miami did it. There's only been 3 losers out of how many they played? 53? This is going to be 54 this year?
Super Bowl?
Or is it 58? 50. Is LV is L that's 50 plus 5.
Yeah.
So this is going to be 59. 59. 3 winners.
I mean, that speaks for itself. I mean, the Niners have a lot of stacked odds against them to even make it back to the Super Bowl this year. I do not like McCaffrey having a calf injury. When you have a calf injury, I automatically think of that could lead to an Achilles. I pray that does not happen. I was very adamant last year about using McCaffrey too much.
Yeah, they did. They did. I think they're going to be having to use him a lot less.
I'll discuss that in the Shanahan rant when we have that.
Wasn't that calf injury though on that NFC Championship going down the sideline? He hurt it right at the end of the game. It wasn't like he got kicked. Remember? In the calf
on that play that he busted down the sideline. If you look at it, he fell on his neck.
Yes.
And I don't know if it was that was bothering him in the Super Bowl or calf, maybe both. He was.
But didn't he hurt the calf then, or was it already hurting going into the game?
I think it was already hurting, and even all off season, it's not right yet. Which is
I hope it's not. I hope it's not an Achilles, man.
So you have your best player on offense, which he is dinged up. You have your left tackle holding out. You have your number one wide receiver holding out. Your tight end and Debo are another year older, and you have 3/5 of an offensive line, assuming Trent comes back, and your center and your right tackle are still, average at best. So I'm not too concerned about the Niners defense. I think they're going to be a top 5 defense. I'm concerned about the offense. I'm concerned about the distractions. And quite frankly, and we'll talk about this when we have our, complete, show committed to football and the preview and everything. I think Detroit has passed them. I think Detroit is hungrier. They're younger. They have a lot less miles on their tires. And I think they want to prove that last year's NFC Championship was a fluke. So I think Detroit's the team to beat in the NFC.
Yeah, we're down to about 2 minutes here. Aaron says BA's not that good or else money wouldn't be an issue. The great ones get paid without question, like CMC. He also says, tired of seeing Shanahan bust CMC through the tackles. Why?
Thank you.
Just stop. Yeah. It's, that's what you got Jordan Mason for.
230-pound back. And he's always ran well.
And he always gets 5 yards a carry.
Yeah, the thing that makes me laugh is, he's not good in pass protection. Well, if it's 3rd and 1, he's not going to pass protect. He's going to run the ball. Hello? Let him take those hits. You don't need McCaffrey getting hit by 300-pound linemen in a 17-game season, and then you got to play 3 more playoff games. It's just asinine. But I will leave that wrath for another day when I have my full spiel on our head coach.
Yes, we will be coming up with some 49er shows here. Look shortly. Also, as I mentioned, it's not finalized yet, but I'm working on it. And we're working on a former NFL head coach coming on here to talk football with NorCal Sports Network. Also, the bottom there, you guys, the show is sponsored by Secure Money. That's my company, 888-960-SAFE. SAFE, 888-960-SAFE or 7233 for all your needs for financial protection, growing your assets. Look, there's evidence that the market may take a big hit coming up. Protect your assets. Also, if you don't have life insurance, or if you already do and want a cheaper, you just want to get a quote, give me a call. And Los at Flex Funding, 925-250-4894, 925-250-4894. Give him a call. He can take care of all your needs for loans, guys. We'll be back here tomorrow night after the Giants-A's game. And, hit the wrong one. I want this one. Okay. So we are out of here, guys, for tonight. Again, hit us up, hit the like and subscribe button. Appreciate you being here. And Giants take it on the chin tonight, 2-0 against the A's, and we'll be back tomorrow. Oh, we've got the pregame show. Pregame show, 30 minutes before the game tomorrow, 12:30. We'll see you guys tomorrow, everybody. Thanks for joining, and